The Ramah says this at the end of Siman Tov Lamed Bet. V'noagim. The Ramah says there's a minhag that he's aware of. That la'neach petitei chametz b'makom sheyimtza'em abodek. To put little pieces of chametz around the house, such that the person who looks for the chametz will be able to find them, kedei shelo yehech abirchato levatala, in order that the bracha that he makes will not be for naught. As though the idea was to find the chametz in my house, and that's what the bracha is about. Umihu, still the Ramah says, im lo natan lo ikev. If you didn't do this, you didn't go through this little process of putting pieces or crumbs of chametz around the house, that's fine. That's also a possibility. The dat kol adam im bracha levaer im nimtza. Because really what people are thinking when they make the bracha is that they will do away with the chametz if they find the chametz. But they don't have to find chametz. I mean, it's not a mitzvah to have chametz to get rid of. So that really the Ramah says two contradictory things. On the one thing hand he says there's a minhag. And a minhag for the Ramah usually means obligatory. That's what we do. We do the minhag. And then he says, but if you don't do the minhag, that's fine because logic dictates that we're not involved in finding chametz. We're involved in looking for chametz. And if there isn't any chametz to be found, that's just great. Great. But what about this idea of bracha levatala? There's a wasted bracha. The Ramah says in the first part, he says, a wasted bracha. You don't waste the bracha by not finding any chametz. And the second part, he seems to say that it won't be a wasted bracha. So the Mishnah Berurah tries to clarify. And the Mishnah Berurah says as follows. He says, there's no problem of bracha levatala, a wasted bracha. Because the mitzvah is, after all, to look for chametz. And if you don't find any chametz after looking for it, I mean, that's great. Then you're ready for Pesach. And he says, furthermore, there are those who hold that the bracha is really about the chametz that you're going to burn the next day. And just that we start from b'dikat. I might have chametz left over. I've been eating chametz all these last few weeks. I have a few cookies left. I have a little bread left. So I have it all concentrated. That's not what the chametz I'm looking for. But that's the chametz that I'm going to burn the next day. So maybe that's what the bracha is about. And he says, certainly the achronim agree. And we know that the Gra didn't do this. The Gra was very careful in the way he did mitzvot, did not put crumbs around the house, right? And was not concerned about this whole matter. And the Mishnah Berurah there ends by saying the following. He said, Mikol makom, ein kedai levatel minhag shel Yisrael. Nevertheless, I do not suggest, the Mishnah Berurah says, that we should do away lightly or easily with an accepted or known minhag that Bnei Yisrael have practiced. Right? And this is what the Chok Yaakov said. And also the Arizal also said that this is a good minhag. In fact, the Arizal said 10 crumbs of bread. And therefore, it's very important. It's important to do it, but it's important to do it with care. So the suggestion is, the way I learned when I grew up, is that you take these 10 pieces of bread, each piece is very small, and you put them into plastic bags so that when you go to look for the chametz, and if you've forgotten exactly the place where you put it, which windowsill, which radiator, etc., and you knock it over, it falls on the ground, it doesn't produce a new problem. But if you put the crumbs in bags, you put the bags around the house, then you sort of have fulfilled the minhag, you've done what the Arizal said, and everything is fine. On the other hand, if you are kind of very Lithuanian in your training and the way you think about things, then you remember that the Gra himself rejected this minhag. He did not do this, in spite of the fact that it appeared in books of minhagim and was approved by the Arizal. And we know that the Gaon gave credence to both those sources. Nevertheless, in this case, the Gaon did not put the Petitim down. So for us, the important thing to remember is, on the one hand, you should do it the way you've always done it, the way your family does it. If you elect to put these Petitim around your house, you should try to protect yourself from unwarranted results by putting the Petitim into little plastic bags, collecting those plastic bags, and the next day burning it with the other chametz.